Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Judy, and today we're going to talk about the loving answer. Hair in my eye, there we go. Before I get started, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. I had a wonderful friend. I haven't talked to him for years. In fact, he's probably passed. His name was Peter. And this is a different Peter than the Peter I mentioned a long time ago. Peter Scott was the other guy. He was in Atlanta when I was on a trip with the bank. If you watch that one, you probably know what I'm talking about. This is a different Peter. This Peter, I kind of met him back in the day, you know, on AOL. You guys are maybe too young for this, but back in the day when the internet was kind of a new thing and AOL was the only way you could get mail. There was no Gmail or anything like that. I don't think Google was even around yet. But anyway, there were these chat rooms you could go into, and maybe they still have stuff like that. I don't know. But I went in there because I had a friend who died in 1997, and I guess I was really going in there to try to figure out what it was I was experiencing after he died. So anyway, I went in there and I, started chatting with a bunch of people, and one of them was Peter. And he was very spiritually wise. I don't know that he actually walked his talk, but honestly, I don't either most of the time. Well, I don't want to think it's most of the time. Let's say some of the time I don't either. There's things you know and then things you have to be, and I'm not there yet. Working on it, but at least I'm conscious of the fact that I'm not where I should be. I know I'll eventually get there. We all do. Anyway, Peter, he always used to say, when there was some kind of conflict or something that, I was a little confused about, or, especially when it came to relationship stuff, he would say, just look for the loving answer. And for a while, I didn't quite know what that meant. I mean, I guess I thought it meant look for the nicest thing to do, or be what you think that person needs you to be. I was kind of confused about what it was, and I honestly was a very different person back then too, because I was living in a lot of fear that I had probably brought with me, and then got exasperated by some of the things that my mom did. Wonderful lessons though, and I've had therapy, so I'm good. And I think my spirituality's helped me more than anything. But anyway, Peter was a wonderful help too, because he taught me these simple lessons that, I don't know, I guess I would have gotten them somewhere else, but he was really good at just making you think. So look for the loving answer, to me, means what would love do? Not what would in love do, not what would I love that person do, what would love do? It's a little bit bigger and sometimes harder to wrap your mind around, because we have to separate ourselves and our emotions when we look for what love would do. So I'll give you an example of something that Peter said to me that literally changed my life and changed how I see what love is. I guess I'm piggybacking off the video about what is love. So it's kind of a long story, but I'll tell you the short story of it, the short end. Chat room, back in the day, again, this is probably maybe 1998, 99, not longer than 99. I was in another chat room. I had a couple of them going, and this other one wasn't spiritual. This one was about music and stuff like that. So I met these two people at different times, but I think I met one of them through the other one. I can't remember that. One of them's name was Carolyn, and the other one's name was George. And George lived in Colorado, and Carolyn lived in West Virginia. And I lived in Pennsylvania at the time. So We didn't live anywhere near each other, but it was fun chatting back and forth about music and different things that we thought, and poetry. I think it was, well, all three of us sort of dabbled in some poetry, and so we would talk about that. And the relationship, I thought, was going along perfectly well. It was an online relationship, but... And one time, Carolyn and I met at a, I want to say it was Cooper's Creek or some state park, I think in West Virginia, or maybe it was Virginia. Maybe it was Virginia. Maybe she lived in Virginia. I don't know. She lived somewhere down there. And we met like halfway and had like a little picnic and talked. It was the first time I'd actually met her face to face. It was really fun. I thought it was fun. Little did I know she was like judging me, but I didn't know she was. I was perfectly innocent about it. And I just was having a wonderful time sitting with Carolyn and eating an egg salad sandwich. So, not long after that, a few weeks, I noticed that my name was blocked. And I don't remember how I knew that, but I don't remember how the chat rooms worked right now. But I was not able to talk with Carolyn anymore. And so I asked George. I said, George, like, what's up with Carolyn? She has me blocked. He said, yeah, well, she thinks that you're trying to get in between us. And I said, what do you mean get in between you? Little did I know they were having like an online affair. They were both married. But anyway, whatever. They were doing whatever you did back in the day. I was completely unaware of it. So when he explained that he and Carolyn had fallen in love, I guess she thought I was a threat of some kind. I didn't even know anything was going on, so I couldn't have been a threat. I didn't have any feelings like that for George. I didn't even know him. Anyway, not really. But I would say that I cared very much for both of them because this had gone on, this chatting back and forth had gone on for nearly a year. And I thought, okay, they're my friends, like long distance, but I thought they were and I cared about them in that way. Next thing I know, George is blocking me too. And I, this is before therapy, and before some other things in my life. And I was a fixer, wanted to make sure everybody, first off, I didn't like the idea of nobody liking me, And I think I was probably still playing the victim role too for a while. Definitely probably was. And, but I was desperate to have them not angry with me. If somebody was angry with me, it just like made me, I couldn't think, I couldn't eat. I was, oh, they're mad at me. What can I do? I have to fix it, And they were mad at me over something that wasn't even real. So I really felt like, we all go through that. So I was talking to Peter about it. And he knew about George and Carolyn. He'd not met them. He wasn't in that chat. But I had mentioned them before to him. And he said, well, why are you telling me about this? And I said, well, because I need some advice. Like, I don't know what to do. I really want Carolyn and George to like me. I really want them to know that I really care about them. And I really would like to somehow figure out a way to make them understand that, because I really want them to understand that. And Peter didn't say anything for, it seemed like half an hour, but it was probably 10 seconds. He didn't say anything for a second. And then he said, did you hear what you just said? Yeah, I heard what I said. I said it. He said, well, say it again. I said, okay. I really want them to know that I care about them. I want them to know I would never hurt them. You know, I really want them to know that like nothing's wrong and we can still be friends. I want them to know. He said, okay. Did you hear yourself? He was a tough cookie. And I said, no, what do you mean? What are you talking about? He said, say it again. I really want them to like me. I really want them to know I care about them. I really want to fix this. I really want them to understand that I wouldn't do anything to hurt them. He said, okay, so now did you hear what you said? It could go on for hours, but it didn't. Third time was a charm. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. He said, say the first 2 words of every sentence you just said. I want. He said, there's your problem. What do you mean? How is it a problem to want them to know that I wouldn't hurt them? Or, he said, it's not about you. It's not about what you want. Maybe that's not what they want. And I said, but the only reason they don't want it is because they think I've somehow betrayed them or done something, and I just want them to know that I didn't. He said, love never includes the 2 words, I want. If you care about them, you will do what they want, not what you want. Well, I was kind of angry. So I was like, what do you mean? I mean, it's not that I'm trying to take anything from them. I'm trying to give them something. He said, uh-huh. I said, I just want them to know. And all of a sudden, I heard what he said. I want. I want. I want. I want. I want. I want. Real, true love. Not the verb, but the noun. Never says, I want. Because love is never, if you actually love somebody, you really love them, all you would want is what they want. It doesn't always go that way, of course, in marriages and relationships with family and children, and obviously we have to pull ourselves a little bit further into the human state because we can't always give everybody what they want. But if you're talking about looking for the loving answer, I want doesn't probably belong there. It's an interesting way of seeing things, isn't it? I hope you get it. It took me a couple minutes. I was so enthralled with the whole thing. The drama was just eating me alive. I was happily victimizing myself. And, I don't know where George and Carolyn are now. I don't know if they stayed married to their wives and husbands or they got together and maybe they got married or they had an affair and then they decided they didn't care for each other. I don't know. I never spoke to them again after that because I was blocked. It was such a good thing to block me too because I'm like, please talk to me. I'm sorry. I was sorry I didn't do anything. Oh, well, that happens. So that's all I had to say about that. Looking for the loving answer. It's a thrill. And I hope you enjoy it. So if you have any comments or anything like that, you just let me know what you're thinking. I would really, really appreciate it. Put your comments on down there and don't forget to hit that like button if I've made you think a little bit about something, maybe a little different way. Or maybe if I haven't, but you just think I'm silly, so you hit the like button anyway. And I will be back with only a few more videos. Almost done for now, I think. Thanks for listening.